Today I'm going to be talking about a subject that is so near and dear to my heart. My gosh, this is the very foundation of my life is based on this particular principle. Um, I'm constantly every day trying to get better, day in, day out, trying to improve upon it, trying to ask myself questions. How can I get better? How can I improve? And so if I get real passionate about this particular principle or this subject, this is the reason why. Um, and the other reason could be maybe I just got out of the gym and I have all this testosterone that needs to go somewhere. What better place to utilize it? So let's burn it up. Let's go ahead and do this, because I find that if one really wants to get the best out of their life, to really be able to reach out into life and just grasp whatever it is that they want, um, unless it's willed otherwise by the good Lord, but whatever you really want in life, you can actually have. Um, that's good for you, that can bless your life and bless the life of your loved ones and your friends. To talk about this effectively, though, I want to share a story, and this story, this experience took place about a year after I'd been here in the United States. I just immigrated to the United States a year before. I was 18 when I came. I was about 19. It was toward the end of my freshman year in college. This is happening in Rexburg, Idaho. My parents, prior to this, had paid about a year's worth of tuition and books for me. So all I had to do really was to work and to provide for the incidentals, my food, clothing, and the other things. So this is about a year. My parents are in Nigeria, and I had promised my parents, because I knew they didn't have very much. And out of the little bit that they had paid about a year's worth, as I said before, for school and tuition and books and stuff. So I had as soon as I came to the United States, I worked my rear end off, and I was fortunate enough to secure an academic scholarship. And that scholarship took care of my books, my tuition. And so again, like I said, all I had to really worry about was my living expenses. I had secured this job working as a janitor. Started at 4 a.m. in the morning, 4 a.m. And so all I had to do is get to work. Again, as I said, I knew that I needed this job to survive. Without this job, that was it. I had to rely on my parents. Again, as I said, that was my goal, not to rely on them, so that they can also survive in Nigeria. So I did everything I could to keep this job, to work hard at this job. And I was able to keep this job for about a year. But this particular day, and here's where the experience comes. This particular day, I got distracted. I took my eye off the figurative ball. I'd been working my rear end off, doing everything I can, but I had this boss that had it out for me. I'm not sure what it was. I think I have an idea what it was, but I'm not going to talk about that in this video. But I was distracted by some boys that called me and said, "Hey, man, you work too much. Come over here. Let's talk. Let's hang out, man. The boss is not here." So foolish me, I listened and I left my station, or the area I was cleaning, and I went and started talking to these boys. And lo and behold, as you would have it, life would have it, the boss comes in. He sees all of us. There was 7 of us boys there, just kind of talking, hanging out. I got singled out, and I got fired right there on the spot. Now, remember, I had been working my tail off. These boys had been goofing off, and I got singled out. I got fired. The other boys kept their jobs. And when I got home, I was absolutely devastated. Why? Because I felt like I had failed myself and I'd failed my parents. But I knew I was not going to ask them for, "Hey, mom and dad, can you give me a few dollars here so I can pay my pay for food and all this?" No, I didn't. So I suffered through it. And there were times when I skipped a meal here and there just so I could make it. And the staple for me during those times, and I practically lived off of this in college, was ramen noodles and eggs. Why? Because you can get a lot of eggs for $1, and you can get a lot of ramen noodles for $1. So I lived off of this stuff and did just fine. But I learned a principle. I learned a lesson during that experience, and that lesson is this: if you fail to take responsibility of your life, If you fail to take control of your life, life will take control of you. Those boys were absolutely a distraction. And that's what happens in life. We get all distractions that causes us, entices us, tempts us to take our eye off the figurative ball, take our eyes off of those things that really matter. And when we do, we lose opportunity to become the best that we can be, to become better, to bring out the good that is within us. So I learned the principle of responsibility, and that's really what I want to talk about today, is responsibility. The word responsibility comes from a Latin root word, and that word is responsus, and responsus means to respond. So therefore, responsibility literally means the ability to respond to something. And what is that something? Well, we're taught that the purpose of life, or the reason why we're here in life, is to perform our labors. That labor, in my opinion, is basically about enterprise. It's about enterprise, and enterprise basically means how good can you be? How much better can you be? What's the best that you can actually be? It's about serving. It's about doing everything you can to improve every day, so that today is better than yesterday and tomorrow is better than today, and so on and so forth. It's about trying to see how much can you serve somebody and bring out the inner greatness that's within you. That's really what enterprise is all about. And so as I thought about that experience back in college, it transformed my life. And it's, like I said before, the rest of my life has been built upon that foundation. Now, what I'm talking about is not easy. I mean, I'll tell you this, life is hard. Life is absolutely hard. To be able to look yourself in the face one day and say, you know what, dude, or if you're a lady, whatever the case may be, but look yourself absolutely in the face and be honest with yourself and say, dude, you sucked. You messed this up. You failed. Own it. You failed. But that is not an invitation to yourself to go around with your head hung down and feel miserable and pout. No, it is truly an invitation for yourself to become better, to raise the bar, to improve, to become better, to respond to your life. Do everything you can to improve. Because like I said, if you don't take control of your life will absolutely take control of you. And life is very unforgiving when those situations happen. I'm going to share an experience that it's not really an experience, it's a story one of my buddies was telling me just a few days ago. This is a physician colleague of mine, and apparently one of his patients has failed to take responsibility for practically anything in his life. He blames everybody else for the things that happen in his life except himself. So my buddy was telling me about this patient of his who lost his leg from an amputation. A patient is diabetic, and as diabetics sometimes will have it if they are uncontrolled or don't take care of their diabetes process, they develop something called peripheral neuropathy, which means that the sensation in the extremities, mostly in the feet, is lost to the point where they can step on something sharp, even like a nail or a pin or something like that. They can have a major injury which for most of us will feel, and that pain tells their brain not to use that extremity. But they have this neuropathy that makes them not feel anything. So this guy apparently had to go pick up his welfare check because it was not delivered, and his ex-girlfriend did not pick it up for him, so he had to go take responsibility and pick up his check. Well, lo and behold, as he's going, he develops a blister from walking for about a mile, and because of the neuropathy, he did not feel it, and it eventually went on to become a wound. Well, he failed to go see his doctor, therefore the wound became infected. He failed to go see somebody, and the wound became really bad that he ended up having an amputation below his knee. But this buddy of mine, this physician friend of mine, tells me that every time he sees this patient for a checkup, this patient blames the government for not having the postal service delivering it to his house, deliver the check to his house, and then he had to go pick it up. He blames his girlfriend for his ex-girlfriend, a girlfriend at the time, but became an ex, for not picking up the check for him, which therefore forced him to go pick up his own check. He blames everybody. He blames the bus service for not being there when he needed them, so therefore he had to walk. I mean, he blames everybody for everything else in his life and the failures in his life, but fails to point the finger to himself. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but the reason why I bring this up is because there are a lot of us who walk around in life and fail to take responsibility. We fail to take responsibility. Somebody wants a job, but is not willing to go get the appropriate clothing to dress up and go to an interview. They fail to look for the job. They fail to groom themselves and get themselves in a place where the employer will actually find them attractive to the job and give them the job. But they blame everybody else. Oh, it's too expensive. Oh, I don't have a car. Oh, I can't go up there. Oh, I'm going to do it tomorrow. They give excuses and they procrastinate the day of their success. Because procrastination has a very good way of stealing time. Procrastination is the absolute masterful thief of time. It will steal time from us. And oftentimes when we fail to respond to our lives, it's often because we're procrastinating. We're listening to that inner chatter that tells us, you can do it tomorrow. You can do it another day. It's okay. Something will happen. Something will come up. No, this is not good for you. There's all these reasons why we talk ourselves out of making that opportunity our finest hour. And so it was with this individual. The same thing goes with those who want to lose weight. Now, I understand that there are certain health conditions where it makes it really impossible to lose weight. Health conditions, disability, and the list goes on. And my heart is broken for these individuals because I enjoy working and I know what my life would be like if I didn't. It is a mental reset for me to go and exercise and to get my mind where it can actually thrive and constantly rehearse my life for success, constantly rehearse and practice ways, starting in here, on ways that I can become better and grasp that opportunity that God and life have for me. So again, I understand that there are certain situations that is hard to work out, but if you are that individual who does not have those extenuating circumstances, you can actually get up and go on a walk. You can control the portions that go into this thing here, the mouth. You can control everything in your life, but you constantly find a reason why you cannot go out there and do what you need to do. You can do everything else, but can't seem to find time to do those things that you really need to do, and then to stick to it long enough to get the result. You need to take responsibility. You need to take responsibility. I need to take responsibility. Like I said, what I'm talking about is real difficult. It is hard for me sometimes to look myself in the mirror and say, you can do better. I expect better. Why? Because you are better. You can do better. You know better. It's hard for us to do that. And it takes a lot of willpower. It takes a lot of standing up to yourself and telling yourself, get your butt out there. To tell that inner chatter to shut up. You're the boss. You're in charge. It takes a lot of willpower to do that, unless you're like, oh my gosh, bless his soul, the late Kobe Bryant. In an interview, he was asked, what does failure feel like? And he said, quote, failure is exciting. He then went on to talk about how failure unearths or exposes a particular weakness, which now you have the opportunity to shore up. Failure provides us the opportunity to figure out what our certain weaknesses are and shore those up, because once we shore up those weaknesses absolutely become strengths. It's almost like an investment. You find a weakness, you improve upon it, you then take that strength you invest it into another experience, which then perhaps exposes another weakness. You take that weakness, make it a strength, and now you take that strength, which is now improved, invest it into another experience, and day in and day out we become better. Please remember, please remember that we are rewarded in public. We are rewarded in public for those things that we practice diligently in private. We are rewarded in public for those things we practice in private. Again, I am constantly working on this. My life is not perfect, nor do I profess. The purpose of this videos is not to make myself seem perfect, as God and heaven knows that I am constantly trying every day to improve. I am trying every day to get better. I am rehearsing in this mind of mine, how can I become better? What is the purpose of my life? And as I said before, the reason for life, I don't care who you are, where you live, the reason for life is enterprise. How good can you be? How great can you be by utilizing your gifts and serving others? That is the reason for life. And we are all given one day alone, to perform that labor. And as we perform that labor, when that opportunity taps us on the shoulder and gives us a chance to shine, we will absolutely make it our finest hour. Now, in conclusion, the sun is coming out. Gonna get home and go clean up and get ready for work. Please remember, as you go through your day, please join me and remember this invitation. There is only one person who has absolute power to facilitate goodness, all the goodness you have in your life, beside God, who has a power to bless our lives. Besides God, if He wills it, besides God, there's only one person who has a power to unearth, to bless your life, to bring about all the goodness that you can ever desire. We need to respond to that individual. We need to respond to that one person. And that one person is you. Are you going to talk about it, or are you going to be about it? If you're going to talk about it, then talk about it. But at the end of the day, you have to absolutely be about it. And that one person that can be about it is you.